Hi everyone, this is a lecture on public sector accounting and finance. Public sector accounting and finance is a course offered by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. It is equally a course being done in every Nigerian university, in their various accounting departments, in some other business-related courses. If you are studying accounting, in your penultimate year, you do government accounts. Then in your finals, you will do public sector accounting. If you are writing ICAN professional exams, at the 8 years level, you are expected to do public sector accounting. Then in your professional level, you are equally expected to do public sector accounting and finance. So this course is meant for those who are writing ICAN professional exams and those who are studying accounting and some other related courses in the Nigerian universities. So we want to introduce the course. The topic as we're going to treat now is the introductory aspect. We want to introduce the course. Subsequently, we'll go deep into so many other topics that are the components of the course. So before we move straight to the proper introduction, we need to know the topic objectives. The topic objectives, what that means is at the end of this course, at the end of the topic itself, what are we going to achieve? So at the end of this topic, listeners should be able to achieve the following. 1, they will be able to define public sector accounting and finance. 2, they will be able to enumerate objectives of public sector accounting. They will equally be able to identify the various users of public sector accounting information. They are also expected to demonstrate a good grasp of the constitutional and regulatory framework of public sector accounting. They will also get acquainted with the various bases of accounting in the public sector. And finally, they can distinguish between public sector entities and the private sector entities. Like I said earlier, this is the introductory topic. So we want to introduce public sector accounting and finance. So what is public sector accounting and finance? It's a double course in one. There are 2 courses inside the one course. One is public sector accounting. The second aspect is public sector finance, also called public finance. So we are going to define what public sector accounting is and then define what public finance is. So let's take public sector accounting first. But before we know what public sector accounting is, we are going to look at the keywords there, isolate them, and define them before we put all of them together to get what public sector accounting is. So what are these keywords there? The keywords are public sector, and then accounting, and then public sector accounting. So we are going to take them one by one. What is public sector? What is accounting? And then what is public sector accounting? First, what do we mean by public sector? In Nigerian economy, they are broadly segmented into 2, public sector and private sector. So, what is public sector? Public sector is that segment of the economy or that sector of the economy that the resources are being owned, managed, and controlled by the government. That is public sector. The other sector is the private sector. The sector of the economy that the resources are owned, managed, and controlled by private individuals. That aspect is the private sector. Private sector is outside the scope of our discussion, but I just want to bring it up to just oppose it with public sector for illustration's sake. So let me take one industry for instance. For example, transport industry in the economy. Transport industry, when you come to transport industry now, some players in that industry are under public sector. Some of the players are under private sector. For example, a company like ITC, Imo Transport Corporation, is in transport industry, but they are operating under public sector because that company is owned by the government. But another transport company like God is Good is also operating in transport industry, but it is under private sector. So you see the difference. Although they are operating in the same industry, but the sector in the economy where they are operating are different, private and public. So public sector of the economy is that sector that the resources there are being owned, managed, and controlled by the government. So we've gotten what public sector is. So what is accounting? From the basis, even when we are in secondary school level, when we are doing bookkeeping, we define what accounting is. In your first year in the university, we also define when you are doing your ACCA 101, 102, we equally define what accounting is. So at that level, we defined accounting as the process of collecting, recording, summarizing, analyzing, reporting, interpreting, and communicating financial information. For what? For purpose of making informed decision with this information. So I repeat again, accounting is the process of collecting, recording, summarizing, analyzing, reporting, interpreting, and communicating financial information for informed decision making. The first thing is to collect this information. Then we do what? We record it, we summarize it, we analyze, we report, we interpret it. At the end, after the interpretation, we communicate it. Who are we communicating this to? We are communicating it to the stakeholders of these organizations. Who are these stakeholders? These are those who will need this information, those who will make use of the information. It is communicated to them for them to use it to make informed decision. That is accounting. So now, what is public sector accounting? When you now merge the public sector, that is the sector that is being operated by the government, and then merge it with the definition of accounting, you get what we call public sector accounting. Therefore, public sector accounting is the process of collecting, recording, summarizing, analyzing, reporting, interpreting, and communicating financial information in the public sector by the government ministries, departments, and agencies for informed decision making by the stakeholders. Like I said earlier, stakeholders are the users of this accounting information. Stakeholder is any person or even an entity that has an interest in any organization. Any person that has an interest in any entity is regarded as a stakeholder to that entity. All the stakeholders need the financial information of these various organizations to take what? To take decisions. Now, this financial information is being collected, recorded, summarized, interpreted, and reported and communicated by government ministries, departments, and agencies in the public sector. We call these people, we call these entities MDAs. Every entity in government or in public sector must fall under any of these three. It could be ministries, it could be departments, it could be agencies. They are the ones who prepare this financial information. We can call them financial statements or financial reports, and then communicate them to the stakeholders. If you mention any entity in public sector, they must fall under either ministries, departments, or agencies. For instance, we have so many ministries: Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Tourism, etc. Then we have agencies like EFCC, ICPC, Police Force, and so on and so forth. All of them, they prepare financial statements or financial reports that are communicated at the end of any financial period to the users of this information. As we are going on, we are going to see those users. We are going to see those stakeholders that these financial reports are communicated to, so that they will use it to make decisions. So we are done with definition of public sector, definition of accounting, and definition of public sector accounting. Now, the second leg of the course, which is public finance. So what do we mean by public finance? When we say finance, what comes to your mind? What do you think whenever we say finance? Whenever we talk about finance, we are talking about money. We are talking about acquiring money, getting money, and using money. Then public sector also gets money. They also use money. So when we talk about public finance, it is the process of acquisition and utilization of funds by the government. Everything about public sector is government, because government is the machinery with which we run or operate the public sector. So public finance, process of acquisition and utilization of funds by the government. You can use an acronym to remember it. Acronym PAUF, PUF. PAUF. P stands for process, A stands for acquisition, U stands for utilization, F stands for fund. So if you put them together, you get process of acquisition and utilization of fund by the government. This entails all the processes involved in government generating this income, as well as incurring the expenditure. Also, the effects of this government income and expenditure on the general economy. This is what we call public finance. Government acquisition of funds, government utilization of that fund, and all the processes involved in getting this money and using the money. Also, the effects of this government income and expenditure on the general economy. All of them make up what we call public finance. And all these things are what we are going to study holistically in this course called Public Sector Accounting and Finance. So in part 2 of the introductory aspect of this course, we are going to look at the users of public sector accounting information. That is the stakeholders of public sector accounting, or you can as well call them the stakeholders of public sector. These are the people who use the public sector accounting information. So if you're getting value from this lecture, you can as well subscribe to the channel, you can share, you can like, so that when we do come up with subsequent topics, you will be able to be notified and keep following up. Thank you very much. This is where we are going to draw the curtain on the introductory part. Pending the time, we come next with the users of accounting information. Thank you.